Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, I'm still writing, and in the Thomas Jefferson phase of this, it's a little chillier. It's like 46 degrees, and I don't feel any wind. So we're working our way toward a spring day. It hasn't happened yet. Well, actually, we've had a couple of standouts. Again, our caring for those people in California on the West Coast continues. It sounds like it's going to get worse before it gets better. Anyhow, we're all following it. So, what's the news? Well, let's start with our standby, Trump. Trump's going to go to court on Thursday, and he's going to try to say they can't bar him for the insurrection. He's probably going to argue that they didn't prove there was an insurrection, or that he was involved with it, or something like that, despite findings by the court, the lower court in Colorado, which was in part the basis for the Court of Appeals saying that he was barred from being on the ballot in Colorado. So it's a big deal, and it remains to be seen what the Supreme Court's going to do, because unlike some lawyers, I am not mystified by the rank political corruption of 6 of the members on the court. And when people on the court are outcome determinative, they find a path to get them there. Now, I suppose the Supreme Court could take a step back and say, we don't have a dog in this fight. How would they do that? Well, they say it was a political question. They say it was determined by the courts below, etc., etc. It seems more likely that a political court will sustain Trump's challenge. For example, saying that Congress has to pass procedures, but there's just no reason for that. It's a self-executing document, and a lot of lawyers, not just myself, a lot of law professors who've written scholarly articles kick that down the road. So, if you follow the argument on Thursday, those are a couple of signs you might look for. It's kind of a kick that one of the plaintiffs in the case is a 91-year-old former Republican who wants to keep him off the ballot. And these are the kinds of citizens that we want. People that disagree with us, but are not so disagreeable in terms of respecting the laws, the Constitution, the laws, decorum, and so forth. And I haven't spoken to the woman, but the sense I get from the public reports is that's who she is. In terms of pushing back, we have Special Counsel Jack Smith. And he submitted a short, for lawyers, 68-page document. And the 68-page document is explaining the documents in the case before Judge Luce Cannon. Remember, I'm adding Luce because she showed herself in the early days to be such a partisan for Trump. I hardly expect a fair trial to come out of there except by the pressure of the special counsel and damn luck. That said, Smith put together this document because there have been misrepresentations, hard to believe, by the Trump team, hard to believe, that distort what the documents are. And so that might be a good night reading with a glass of red wine and some brie that's running. Or you might just want to read the newspaper summaries on the subject. You may remember that in the document case in Florida, that we have Trump, we have his sidekick, Nauta, N-A-U-T-A, and then we have a guy, de Oliveira, and those are the parties in that case. And I think if we're right that Judge Luce Cannon is indeed loose when it comes to the law, that she'll delay this thing past the election. I want to be proven wrong, but, I just don't think it. They choose such malleable, unethical, incompetent vessels to do their dirty work that they put at risk our entire government and our nation's long history in trying to find its way through the law to a better society that's not based on coercion and pressure and threats, but on an enlightened legal system. And these people, you know, they're the original bull in the china shop. Just want to tear it all down, have no idea what to replace it with, have no idea how they could stand in the wind that would blow. That's who we're dealing with. Sad story out of Great Britain. King Charles III has cancer. Now, we all knew him, well, maybe not all of us. I have to keep my generational head on here. But we knew him when he had that storybook wedding. And then it came apart into a kind of TV serial saga. But he's always had these special aspects. A little more enlightened king. Now, I have no use for kings or royalty. I, through history, still resist the notion of Great Britain, although I've loved visiting it when I have. But there's no reason that a person of his age, I guess he's 75, something like that. Hopefully we'll find out in the next day or so how serious it is. You get old enough, things bring you down, all of us. And some people, the scythe catches people younger. So that's that. The Congress has been trying to put together a migrant bill. These guys are such phonies. Let me give you the cynical view of our immigration problem. It goes like this. Republican landowners and a lot of farmers, without regard to party, are happy to have illegal migrants hungry for income to come here without papers because they can pay them a lot less. Now, Democrats, some think, that people will get here, find a way to create an identity that even allows them to vote. And then there's also the fundraising angle on this, which is if these two sides get into a fight, they can raise a lot of money for both parties at the same time on the issues without doing anything, and then they just don't do anything. So this may be another one of those. But on Sunday night, they released, I guess the draft bill or resolution they might pass. And among the things it said was that they would, when they reach 5,000 people on a single day, those past that date, past that number, would be treated not at all. And so Trump, who attacked the proposal when he didn't know what it was, and has been proven wrong about the things he said, because he liked the issue for the election, so he can point a finger toward the South and say, these people overrun us and destroy us and rob us and kill us and bring in drugs and all the things that Trump just loves being discriminating about. And instead now, they're trying to claim that these numbers that are in the bill really are a form of amnesty, and we can't have amnesty. And they are not amnesty. They're just provisions to try to deal with the number incoming into our country in such a way that they can continue to review whether or not some get asylum or not. And the difference really is putting them in a program that allows that analysis to occur. Immigration law is so much more complicated than our public debate. And when I was on the Hill, luckily, there are lots of people in the CRS, Congressional Research Service, and members and staff who know about these things. If you let them write a bill, they could write a bill. They could write a compromise bill. and the public debate and using it as a presidential issue and deal with those poor people who are suffering where they are, coming here because this is their last hope. But, people just don't. Some people love to hate. They just can't stand it if another person is happy. And their happiness comes in making someone else miserable. And if there is a centerpiece to the Republican agenda, that's it. They don't want people happy. They don't want them equal. They don't want them to receive equal justice. They don't want to help them despite all the Christian bullshit that they will say the instant you say, I got a gay son or daughter, or I'm going to enter a gay relationship, or all that, I'm going to have an abortion. I'm going to hire an Indian, a black, a Jew. This is the Republican Party. That stuff drives them nuts. So, and then there's an issue that you're probably following, which is in Michigan, they're prosecuting the parents separately on manslaughter cases because they were so criminally negligent that the son they had, he went off and killed 4 people. And some are saying, how can you do that? How can you prosecute the parents? Well, damn, it's negligence, it's neglect, and it's more, it's affirmative too. How many of you out there, and maybe this is an unfair question, because our gathering, probably this is a foreseeable answer. Maybe there are a few exceptions. But how many out there think you should give a 15-year-old a handgun for a birthday present and then take him to the range and have him shoot? And then, a couple of days later, he shoots and kills 4 students. Charming-looking people in the season of joy and love and peace. They bring a gun into the period of celebration, we claim, when the light is getting smaller so they can be reborn for the year ahead. It's a combination of pagan and Christian and everything else in that analysis. So I hear people saying, how can you do that to a parent? We should be doing it to more parents or organizations or manufacturers. What stops these people? You can't reason with them. You have to force them by law to abide by the law. One of those laws is you shouldn't really kill people. And if you're anywhere in the spectrum of creating that opportunity, you should be prosecuted. As the mother is being prosecuted, I think the jury is considering it now. There'll be a big debate afterwards. The Second Amendment people, kids should be able to have a gun, even if several days after getting it, he's going to go kill 4 students. That's America. Was it bred into us at some basic DNA that the kind of people who came to America were bloodthirsty? Well, obviously, it's only a minority. But it's a very active minority, and it compromises the whole rest of our nation and its standards and what it could be. Let's roll this back. Take those 4 students, for example. What would their lives have been like? What will their parents think the whole rest of their life when the child is not there, grown to an adult? The child is no longer there when the parents get old, and when children can ask the kinds of questions as adults they didn't know to ask when they were kids. And how do you weigh that against a mother's right to be reckless with a child? Oh, we didn't know he had mental problems. Really? Someone doesn't have to have mental problems for you, by example, to give them the notion that if they have trouble or just care to see what it's like to kill somebody, like Loeb and Leopold, just go out and do it. And this craven desire for blood and killing and hurt and discrimination, we have to stamp that out. We stamp it out by how we conduct ourselves and how we point out those people who do worse things, including this mother in Michigan, the mother from Michigan. So maybe by the time you hear this, they will have a verdict. I sure hope it's conviction. You know, I don't like to speak in terms of rendering a verdict on someone when I haven't sat through the trial, but this is one of those things with guns. There are laws that make it more dangerous when the item you're seeking to control can cause such pain and suffering and hurt and death. And this is one of them. So they're charged with manslaughter, and they're tried separately, and there have been questions from the jury. So, a little bit of a rumbling thing. So here I am on my walk through the Cathedral of Trees, and I'm writing myself. I suppose I'm going to have 60 pages by Wednesday when I have to file this. And the number of pages isn't the problem, except to limit it. So that's what I'm trying to do. So have a good day. With any luck, I'll have enough freedom to get out tomorrow and walk in this Cathedral of Trees. Talk to you. All the best. Bye-bye.